We're going down the rabbit hole with Greg Vacariello, everyone. GV.
Number 6.
Yes.
So glad to have this guy here.
Comedian for decades.
Hey, Greg,
yeah.
Actor,
you
writer,
are our
producer.
first guest on our show. It's our first
Holy
guest. We usually
shit,
just
is
do
that true?
deep dive on videos. You're our first guest.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought that maybe I didn't see all of them. I've watched them.
It's not.
And I didn't know if you had guests
because
or not.
at first it was the Steve Lazlow show, but then we got rid of him. So
He sucked.
So
All he did was
and that
complain.
was interviews. That was just I was just doing interviews.
Okay.
And one of the interviews I did was with Jeff Scott, the piano player from the Comedy Store.
Yeah. I remember
And
that.
then
Yeah.
He died just like a month ago. I still don't even know how. I don't know what happened to
It
him.
wasn't suicide?
I don't know. And like it gets to the
Wow.
point where you're like, are you going to keep asking how someone died? You know, when you're,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like he was a good friend. It's just whack that I did the last interview with him and we covered like his whole life
Wow.
from
Wow.
Ohio to San Diego to LA to,
It was like that was almost his swan song, you know? It's
yeah.
kind of creepy.
So you're not going to kill yourself, right? And dude, he would love that joke. He would love that. So don't even we had that effect on people though. We interview them and then
They kill themselves.
they're done.
Yeah, right.
Done. Man, when we interviewed
Yeah.
Cola,
It's great.
he was like going on and on about his dog eating possum shit or something. I don't know. It was crazy. Remember? And then
He's a machine gun, and you know, Greg. I mean, you've known Joey more longer than we have. Once you
Yeah,
get him
right.
started, he's like a kid with ADD. He's off, man.
Oh.
He doesn't stop, and he's
Yeah, you just
such
you
a
just
great
say-
guest.
Yeah, you go, Joey, how you doing? And then you can walk away for an hour. You know, and then you come back and he's going,
he's
and
still-
then you know,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
Still
amazing.
going. And then I told this motherfucker,
Yeah.
he does all the voices for you. He does the whole
You know what's funny about Joey? He's probably the kindest, most aggressive person you'll ever meet in your life. He'll
Yeah,
talk about kicking people's asses, but then he'll
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
you $50 and like change your tire and take you out to dinner. You know,
Yeah. He's the best. Joey's
He
the
is.
best.
No, I think
He's-
if he finds the guy who is going to be his son-in-law, he's going to break his legs. He
yeah.
was the guy like broke up with his daughter like a week before the wedding or some shit.
Yeah.
Like insane. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she moved back home because she didn't, you know, it was like a week before the wedding. It was
Terrible.
something
Sad.
like that.
Oh.
It was some short amount of time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's
wow.
like, I can't do this. And they're like, everything's paid for, asshole. So
You know, I
fucked
think
up.
you do that, at the very least, you owe that money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're gonna just walk,
I agree.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
like,
That's devastating. I mean, never mind the heartbreak of it all and all of that.
oh, it's financially like fuck you.
Yeah, because you know, people will, you know, save and work and do all that to pay for that wedding, and you walk away a week out.
Oh my god,
Buddy.
that's what I mean. If he finds that guy, he's gonna break
gonna
his
kill him.
legs.
How
and
long
it-
ago was that?
Yeah,
Right before
a few
Christmas.
months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
But, you
Wow, that's so
In
sad.
pandemic time, that's like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? The metric system.
So now, Greg, you're still out in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
shouldn't we start at the beginning, 1989? That's when I met. That's when
Go
I
ahead.
met Greg.
Dive in.
89.
1989.
I met you at the Comedy Store. I was 19 years old.
The
How
Comedy
long-
Store. No.
No, not the Comedy Store.
No.
East Side Comedy.
He said
East
comedy. Yeah.
East Side Comedy. I'm just so used to saying the Comedy Store. East Side Comedy Club, which is a magical place all of itself too.
Yeah.
That was
It was great.
yeah. You know, it's weird how you like the club you start out, you're like a salmon, you know, like
Yeah.
that's where you spawned. So
Yeah.
how long in 89, how long were you there? By not a long, like a year?
No,
or-
maybe because I didn't get into it till late 80s. You
Right.
know, I was taking an acting class with Gary Valentine.
Yeah,
And
Kevin-
we were all Joan St.
Yeah.
Ange.
Yep.
Joan St. Ange taught the improv class, and
Well,
then we would do improv on the show, the East Side Players, and then we went
Yeah,
on
but
to
I'm
do
talking about a different. I'm
clubs.
talking about an actual acting class.
That's how you met him.
That's how I met Gary. And
Ah.
Gary is the one who said to me, "You should come do improv." I'm like, "What's that?" And so I started taking improv classes at East Side Comedy Club with Joe and St. Ange.
Right.
And I met Gary, I met you guys, Rock Rubin, Joey
Kevin.
O'Brien, you know, all these really talented people. And then and that's when Kevin came in and we started doing shows like that. Yeah. But I actually met Gary in an acting class.
Oh, all right.
So you and Gary met, you were studying acting, and where were you going? Bexon?
Oh no, this was on Long Island.
Okay.
This was John Monteleone out at Dowling College.
Oh yeah, I heard of that guy.
Yeah. And
Hey, he's a fucking plumber, right?
A plumber. He's a
So,
plumber and a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah.
All at once. So yeah, so that's how I really kind of got going. I started taking an acting class. And then Gary was like, "You're funny, man. Why don't you come down to the club and do some improv and maybe get into stand-up?" I'm like, "Stand-up comedy? I see it, but I don't know how you do that. How do you do that?"
It's so weird because one of your characters was a cop.
Yeah.
So many of the roles you've played have been a cop.
Yeah.
Like you assigned it to yourself, you know.
I don't know what it is, Steve, but I you know, when I did my very first Law and Order, SVU.
Dun 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 dun.
What's that?
I tried to do dun 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 dun.
Yeah. So I'm downtown, we're shooting on location. And my first scene, this is years ago, was with Mariska Hargitay and Chris Maloney, you know, Benson and Stabler.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on location, and the assistant director, she comes to get me, and she's like, "They're ready for you." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." And I step out, and I'm playing a cop. Okay.
NYPD.
10-4. So you can't wear a full uniform in public unless you're a cop.
Right.
Or unless you're on the set.
Like, in case something happens. Yeah.
There you go, right?
Right.
They go, we need the police. I'm like, I'm not a cop. Anyway, so, and then she takes me out. I meet Mariska Hargitay. She'll never remember this, I'm sure of it. But we're walking down, like, I don't know, somewhere on the west side, walking downtown. And the assistant director says, "Oh, Miss Hargitay, this is Greg Vacariello." And she goes, "Oh, nice to meet you." And the girl was like, the assistant director was like, "Oh, I left something back at the other trailer. Can you make sure she gets to the set?" I'm like, "Sure." And we're walking down the sidewalk, going to the set, the location. And she turns to me, Mariska Hargitay turns to me, she goes, "How long are you on the job?" I look at her, I'm like, "I'm not a cop." She goes, "You're a cop. I know you're a cop." I go, "I'm not a cop." She goes, "Yeah, you are." I go, "No, I'm not. I'm in a scene with you." She goes, "You are?" I'm like, "Yeah." I pulled out my script. You know, like, we have to do a scene in 20 minutes. I go, "Didn't you get it when I didn't have a gun and I didn't have
or pants?"
But they don't know.
Or pants, you know. She goes, "Oh my God, I thought were you a cop or you're retired?" I'm like, "No, I'm not a cop. I never was a cop." But people think I'm a cop.
You just look at, you have that New York cop look, man. I just, much of it.
About 11 years ago, I went to Iraq to perform for the troops. And I was living in LA, and I flew, actually maybe 12 years ago, whatever, flew to DC. And in DC is where we all met. I was going with a band named Lone Star and a woman named Judy Seal, who organized all this. We meet at DC, in the airport in DC, Reagan International. And then from DC, we flew to Kuwait City, and that was like 14 hours. So I get to the airport, and we all have a meeting place, you know, meeting at the term, whatever it was. And Judy introduced me to the band. Nice to meet you guys. They were kind of like, "Nice to meet you." But they were like a little like, not friendly. They weren't rude, but they were a little, okay, it was very official with them.
Well, so they think you're CIA. They think you're,
what's that?
They think you're CIA.
And we fly to Kuwait City. And we land, and we get off the plane, and they're kind of not talking to me at all. And I'm working with them for the next 10 days in Iraq. So I say, "Hey guys, you know I'm working with you, right?" They're like, "Well, you're like security, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm not security. I'm the comedian who was on the show with you." And they were like, "Oh my God, we thought you were security. You kind of walked around like that." Like what?
What are you talking about?
I mean, they were the best guys you could ever work with, but they thought I was like some official, like security guard. No.
Did they take you out to like fucking outposts where it was like 6 guys in a shed?
Well, we went to a base, and I think it was called Hunter, FOB Hunter, Forward Operating Base Hunter. And it was 8 miles from the Iranian border. And I live in Vegas, and I think I live in the desert. Let me tell you something.
Right.
That's the desert.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there at all.
It's
and
like
you got this base, and it was the base that we built to stop weapon smuggling from Iran. So it was as far out as you could possibly get in terms of bases go. We were way the hell out. The only way in and out of there was by chopper.
Whose idea is it to go there? Whose idea is it? Send GV out into the middle of the desert.
40 miles from Iran.
Yeah.
Dude, 8 miles.
Oh, 8 miles. Oh, yeah.
8 miles from Iran. And I'm telling you, the night before, they said to us, now look, guys, you do not have to do the show. Everybody's turned it down. It's very dangerous. You don't have to do the show. It's okay. I'm like, well, I'm out here. I might as well go. So we all went out. We flew on 2 Black Hawk choppers out to this base.
And these guys play country music, and you do comedy. It's country. It's country music and comedy.
Yeah, they loved it. They loved it. It was great. But I'm telling you, that was as far out and as off the beaten path as I've ever been in my life. But what happened was, when the choppers landed, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon their time. When the choppers landed, we did our show. It was a Radio Shack speaker on a milk crate and a microphone. That was the sound system for the 200 soldiers that were out there. And I did the show. And when we were done with the show, we were supposed to fly back to another base and do another show. The choppers were called out on a mission.
Oh, no.
So literally they said to us, hey, guys, the choppers are called out on a mission. And we're like, okay, cool. When are they coming back? And the guy's like, you don't get it. We don't know when they're coming back. It could be days.
Oh, shit.
So literally, you're at this base, which has no lights because they can't be lit up. No, there's no ceiling, no lights, in the desert.
Mommy!
Yeah, dude. Darren, I'm telling you, buddy, I was like,
fuck that.
So how long did you wait for the choppers?
We wound up being there about 4 hours past when we were supposed to.
That's not so bad.
It wasn't bad. But you don't know it at the time, because they can't even tell you.
That's a long 4 hours. That's a long.
Like, they may have known the choppers are coming back, but they couldn't even tell us because everything's a secret, you know?
Right.
So I had dinner with them. I'll never forget it. I had boiled turkey, boiled mashed potatoes, and boiled green beans.
Sounds like my mother did that fucking meal. Jesus Christ.
That's mush. It's mush, and mush.
But dude, I'm telling you, it was great.
That's Irish cuisine.
When
right? Fucking boil everything.
Everything tastes better when you're closer to death.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're exactly right. Like
I still do gigs where that's the sound. That's, where it's a Radio Shack speaker on a milk crate. That's still unreal. I still get those gigs. So
how was that gig, Greg? I mean, were you nervous there? I mean, trying to entertain those people. I mean, it's a weird situation.
It's a very weird situation. Because remember, it was still a war was going on.
Right.
So
it's like 2003.
Yeah, it's technically a war zone. So you're in there. In one way, I felt, oh my God, this is dangerous. The other way, I felt like I couldn't be safer anywhere else in the world. I had the best soldiers in the world guarding me. But a rocket's a rocket. I mean, two places I performed at the night before were hit by a rocket. So I mean, it's real. And they were dealing with it, but yeah, it's definitely scary. I mean, when I flew to that base, I was talking about Hunter. When I flew to the base, we were on 2 Black Hawk helicopters, and I was sitting in the back facing forward. Then there was a seat right in front of me facing backwards, and then back to another seat facing forward. So there were like 6 people could sit in the back. We're flying out, and they said to us, look, guys, the flight is the most dangerous part of this whole thing, because there could be bad guys hanging out there, and
they shoot at choppers.
They know we do it, so okay. So about halfway through the flight, about a 45-minute flight, about 20 minutes in, I'm sitting in the back of the chopper and I'm next to the drummer, and Keach Rainwater is his name, the drummer, and then 2 guys facing us and 2 guys facing forward. And we're just driving. And all of a sudden, I'm telling you, out of nowhere, we go from flying level to just like this chopper went straight up. And then it tilted to one side. And the machine gunner just started pelting the ground. I mean,
oh my God. What the fuck?
And I'm in the back going, holy shit. This is it.
I'd be vomiting.
Yeah.
Dude.
And that thing has an M50 on the side of it. The bullets are the size of your finger. I mean, they're like, you know.
Yeah, oh, they're definitely
meant to cuts a car in half.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then the chopper flips to the other side, and the other machine gunner rockets. And then we level out. It just levels out, right? And we're in the back going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? And then the kid on the machine gun looks back at us and he smiles. He's smiling, he's laughing, right? We go, what is he laughing at? And then he looks, he goes, oh my God, oh my God. You can't hear him, but you could see his mouth moving. And he holds out his headset. Oh my God, oh my God. He was supposed to give us headsets and he forgot. So we never heard the pilot go, hey guys, hang on. I'm going to show you what this bird can do. So we never heard that part of it.
So you're just terrified.
Oh, dude, unbelievable. That kid felt so bad. You know, he felt so bad.
How old was he?
What's that?
How old was he, you think?
Oh, 19, 20.
Wow. So when you performed for them, they must have been like just ecstatic, like just so happy to have you there, right?
Show. It's just another show.
I'm telling you, I still hear from a couple of them. Yeah, they were thrilled, especially out at that Hunter, because nobody went out to that base. Nobody went out.
Listen,
we were the first ones.
They know that you've come from all the way around the world just to try and entertain them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's amazing because
I wanted to go, and my wife's like, you can't go. And I'm like, it's not like I'm going to war. I'm just going where they do the war.
I'll just be in it, but not. I'm telling you, one night I'm performing at this one base. It was a airline hangar.
Got that dog up.
And all of a sudden I hear machine gun fire, and like everything stops. Like I stop talking, all the troops turn, they look, and they're looking back and go, that's okay, that's outgoing, you're fine. Well, okay.
Outgoing.
Outgoing, you're fine. So I just kept, I mean, it's
that was in the middle of your set?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not like it's not like when they use the blender, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not a margarita.
That's
someone
insane.
shooting.
Oh my God.
But I'm telling you, man,
it's crazy.
It makes you wonder. It really makes you think, like this is their life.
Yeah.
I mean, they're amazing. They're amazing people. That was their life. And some of these, they were young, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah. It fucks them up, though. It fucks them up.
Yeah.
It ain't easy, bro.
It's not easy at all.
No,
I mean,
it's so stupid.
The whole thought of, taking someone else's life, when you're 19 or 20 and you're gung-ho and I'm fighting for my country, like, yeah, that's great. Then you start to mature. And then that feeling, that realization of how many lives.
Everyone always says war is hell. Everyone has that saying.
It literally is. It's a psychological hell as well.
So why?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And because, it's easy to, like you said, Darren, gung-ho, I'm going to fight my country. But then you get into your first battle and you see somebody die. You have to be inhuman not to be affected by that.
Well, They all say the same thing, that they're there for their buddies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just there to keep their buddy alive. Their buddy's there to keep them alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
was.
You guys, did you hear it? They just declared world peace. I heard it right before we started. Yeah, the whole world.
Serious?
Yeah, world peace. We're going to do world peace. So
so everything's fixed?
Yeah, no more guns, nothing.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, everything's
great. That's great.
They decided if we all work together for humanity, that it can be a great place.
Who declared that? Where did you hear that?
I saw it on the fake news. I saw on CNN, man. That's bullshit.